Hi, hello, shalom, my name is Haley Beckel and it has been a struggle. These past few weeks I have been through a lot. My dog died, my computer died, and yeah, there's more. But anyways, I'm here now and we are filming this video. Today we're going to be talking about something a little more on the folklore side. We'll be talking about a werewolf from Bedburg, Germany. You probably maybe have heard of this man, Peter Stumpp. Well, let's get started. So Peter Stumpp was born in Eprath near Bedburg, Germany. There's no clear date as to when he was actually born, but we can theorize based on the evidence that he was born somewhere between 1545 and 1550. His surname, Stumpp, was said to be in reference to his missing left hand. There's not a lot of information about his childhood, but we do know that he took up black magic at the age of 12. He also did some necromancy and some sorcery. According to the legend, when he was 20 years old, he made a deal with the devil. He sold his soul to the devil and received a belt in return. But this wasn't just any belt on a rack, it was a special belt that allowed him to transform into a werewolf when worn. For the next 25 years, Peter's reign of terror ensued. He was actually a pretty normal, nice guy during the day. He was known to be fairly social and chat up the locals. And he earned a pretty decent living as a farmer despite missing his left hand for some reason. Peter was also a widower and he had 2 children. His first child was a son, but his name is not mentioned in the legend, so we don't know. And his second child is a daughter by the name of Sybil. So he used his social skills to lure women into the woods and rape and murder them. It was said that he would pluck out their throats and tear their joints asunder. If he couldn't get a woman alone, he would just tear into a group of ladies and take the one that he thought was best. And kill her, of course. When he was finished, he would remove his belt and go back into town like nothing happened. Just in a few years, he murdered 13 girls and 2 pregnant women, and he ate the unborn children as well. If he couldn't get a lady to feast upon, he would turn to cattle. He killed various livestock and ate them in a field. And this whole time, he maintained a family. He even had an incestuous relationship with his daughter and his sister. He even got his daughter pregnant. Peter also had an affair. The woman's name was Catherine Trompin. People speculated that she was sent by the devil for some reason. Over time, it became more difficult to satisfy Peter's bloodlust. So he stopped handpicking victims and just killed for pleasure. It even got so bad that he killed his own son. According to the account, Peter took his son into the woods, went full wolf on him, and ate his brains. He even took out 3 people without hesitation. There were 2 men and a woman in the forest, and Peter hides behind a bush and calls out to one of the men. And the man comes over looking for whoever is calling out to him, and Peter jumps out and rips out the man's throat. He's dead. Then the second man comes looking for the first, and Peter does the same, kills him, boom, dead. Then the woman is on the run. She's running away from whatever has taken the 2 men, and then Peter catches up to her, he rips her throat out, and she's dead. Now, examiners did find the bodies of the 2 men, but the woman's body was never found. After 25 years, it was getting harder and harder for Peter to get his fill. Most locals began traveling armed and with bodyguards. And because of this, Peter had a close call. He barreled into a group of young children and grabbed a little girl. However, he couldn't sink his teeth into the girl's neck because she was wearing a very high, stiff collar. So she screams out and startles nearby cattle, which for some reason began charging, stampeding into Peter in his wolf form. So he was forced to drop the girl and run away. And this young girl is said to be the only survivor or known survivor of Peter. Not long after, he was trapped by a group of men in his wolf form. and he thought to himself, well, I've got nothing to lose. So he takes off his belt and shows them that he is human and that he's the guy that's been chatting them all up this entire time. But this doesn't do any good, of course, and the men take him home and call the magistrate to arrest him. Then Peter was put on a rack and tortured, and he quickly confessed to everything. He claimed to have gotten rid of the belt before he was apprehended, and nobody was able to find it after that. Then on October 28th, 1589, Peter faced trial for the murder of countless women, children, and of course cattle. He was found guilty almost immediately. On October 31st, he was tied and bound to a breaking wheel in front of the townspeople. Red hot pincers tore his skin from his bones, and his arms and legs were broken with wooden hatchets. Then he was beheaded and his body was burnt. His daughter Sybil and his mistress Catherine were also found guilty. As punishment, they were thrown onto the burning body of Peter. To celebrate his death, a macabre shrine was raised with a breaking wheel, and an engraving was placed at the top of the pole along with Peter's head. It was encircled with 16 pieces of wood that went to about a foot long to represent all of the identified victims of Peter. And that is the story of Peter Stumpp. It is a legend. We don't really know if this is true or not. Was he a werewolf? Did he make a deal with the devil? I can't say, but it's an interesting story nonetheless. And right here we have some German puffed apples. They're like fried little apple slices. I'm very curious about this because I would never think to do that, but let's taste it. Let's see how it is. Let's find out. Cheers. Okay, that's actually pretty good. I mean, it's not good for you, but that's actually pretty good. I like it. It's like, you know, it brings out the little sweetness of the apple, and then you've got that like little batter, the light little crispy batter around it. That's pretty good. Well, that is it for now. If you enjoyed this, please let me know. If you did not enjoy this, please let me know. If you have any other food related things, stories you want me to cover, please let me know. I'm gonna finish the rest of this now and regret it later. Bye-bye.